6,
7,
8,
9,
10.
Yes,
Girl, how are
you
you
weren't really.
doing?
Wait, what did you do? Because I didn't even hear it. You weren't committed to whatever it was. What'd you do? I wish you could see your face.
How are you doing? Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad to be talking to you again. I'm sure that we gave the listeners quite a scare last week. But here we are, back at it like nothing ever happened. And I'm about to take an edible. Apparently you took one earlier. Is that true?
I took a half of one, yes.
Okay. So here we are. I'm going to see what happens.
This is how we're closing out the new year, huh?
Yeah. We're getting risky.
It's getting wild.
Getting open.
Crazy over here.
Let's see what happens, Sheila. What's crack-a-lackin'?
This is my birthday week. And I don't remember what we talked about last week aside from the yelling and the betrayal.
Oh, God.
But what I will say, I can't remember if I talked about what I was going to do for my birthday. But I think originally I had all these ideas of getting people together, meeting up at a restaurant, giving people times, getting an invitation list to somebody. But like a true sage, I said, nah, we ain't committing to that. And I decided that I'm going to spend majority of my birthday alone, and not in a way that's like, woe is me, but more so that I'm going to have like little mini dates. So I'm kind of mapping out who I would like to see, letting everybody know that even though I said maybe we're going to meet up at 2:00, I might not meet up with you. I'm prefacing that with everyone. And I'm going to get an aura picture. Have you ever seen the photos where you get your photos taken and they take a picture of your aura?
No.
It's like something they often do at like events or something, similar to like the cheesy one where you put on the costumes and you take a flick. So it's like an attraction at an event, if you will. And this store that I really love is going to have a pop-up and collaborate with the photographers that take the aura pictures. So that's pretty much the only thing that I know, that I have at 2:30.
You have something else that you know you're doing.
And I know I'm going to go to friends and family. If you guys are in Philly and you guys want to have a really good time, you should go see
Shanti,
Matthew
this is going to
Law.
come out after the...
Is it?
Yes, your birthday is this weekend. This comes out next
You
week.
ruined my birthday on the last.
You
actually ruined my birthday. I forgot. I forgot. We fought on my birthday.
That wasn't your birthday.
I'm back.
Your birthday has not happened
come
yet.
out on my birthday.
Oh my God!
So
your
the
birthday has
listeners
not happened
know that
yet.
as my actual birthday.
You are so irritated. I sang you happy birthday and you attacked me, but we're not going to. That wasn't all about me. You ain't going to convince me that it was. Oh no, I dropped my hair tie. Go ahead.
Anyway, don't get me started. Apparently, it wasn't about you at all.
It
wasn't about you at all. My bad, Joe. My bad. But I will say that I'm excited for the way that I'm excited for my birthday. I feel good. I feel good about my day. I feel good about possibilities and far less conflicted than I was feeling before. So shout out to all the Sagittarius that are doing what they want on their birthday. It's your birthday. Go ahead.
I love that. I can't wait to see you. I'm coming down on Saturday to dance with you and to sweat and to carry on, possibly cry. We don't know. The world is our oyster. In other news, I also have to come down and get my cat. Because my mother is fed up. Can I read this text that she sent me?
I saw it online. I did tell you, Blue's back. Blue.
Don't talk about her in such a way.
I experienced the same thing.
My mom has never been writing me more, FaceTiming me, all kinds of stuff. And she's just telling me all this stuff about my cat. Most of it is cute and she's like obsessed with her. Unsolicited, at 5:30 p.m., she writes, Blue is not like other cats. She is demanding of your time like a baby. You raised her like that, exclamation point. She starts doing bad things when she feels she hasn't gotten enough attention. She jumped up by the small Christmas tree and knocked something over. It made a loud noise and she shot out of the living room like a bat out of hell. So I read that. I was in the middle of working and I said, I'm sorry, I'm coming to get her. I'll be there Saturday. And then I thought about it and was like, wait, also, she's a cat. I am not an unfit parent. She is not a human. And you continue to give her tuna. And she calls me all the time like, I gave her tuna. I gave her chicken. I gave her salmon. I'm like, she doesn't eat that. You're spoiling her. You continue to give her tuna and salmon when she did absolutely nothing to deserve them. If anything, you've undone all of my hard work and training. She follows up with, she's been like this. You gave her the attitude. I was like, drop the mic. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with her. I am so done with this lady. Then I was like, I'll call you later. And she goes, after the news, my phone is charging too. And I was like, you know what? She's such a fucking Scorpio. It's not even funny. Scorpio Sag. You realize that about my mom, right? That like she is a Sag as well. Savage. Anyway, I will be reunited with my baby girl. And it doesn't make any sense that I'm going to come get her. I think I'm actually going to leave her. I'm just going to come and clip her nails. Because that's really why she's being bad. Her nails are growing in. And so now she's using them to stretch. I clip them.
Wow.
I also used to brush her teeth.
Oh.
I am a great cat parent.
What happens if she doesn't get her nails clipped?
Well, then they grow in, and so she uses them to stretch her body. So that's when she starts scratching things and stuff.
See.
If they're short, then she can't grip one thing. So she's just like laying there stiff. Anyway, in other news, I am having fun. I am saying yes to all the play. I'm telling you, shout out to that listener at the Holiday Bazaar who came up to me, took my hand, and spoke life into me. I actually went out with Renee afterwards, and Renee spoke life into me. She was like, girl, you got to live, child. And I said, for real? And that is what I've been doing. And I've realized I've just been like logging off of work. And even if I'm tired, I might take a nap afterwards. I went out last night. It's a school night. I went out. I got a drink with somebody and it wasn't like a date, but it was just like, we had been talking about getting a drink together, hanging, connecting.
I know that's right, girl.
And we did that.
Yes.
And it was great. It was great conversation. And it's like, I'm really actively trying to curate my little group and meet, new people and be open to that. I went over someone else's house this weekend and had an amazing conversation with a group of such dynamic beings. I mean, we played the Esther Perel game. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. And I felt the way that I felt when I first hung out with you, but just not as like, I wasn't going to stalk them as hard. But when I just thought to myself, I want this person in my life. I want to know more about this person. And I'm going to actively pursue them. And so I reached out to my friend whose house I was over, and I was like, hey, can you put me in contact with this young lady? Like, I drove her home. We were like crying in the car and hugging each other. It was wonderful. And I'm also getting a little bit overwhelmed, if I'm being honest, with the attention that I'm getting from men. And I'm I hit me today. And there are men that have been in my life that are all of the sudden like, hey, what's up with you? Or, hey, are you going to be in town? Or can we go out? And I'm just like, wait. What y'all talking about?
Girl, good problems to have.
It is because it's getting cold. And it hit me and I was like, oh, it's cold.
Cuffing season?
And you like, who is going to keep me warm?
Girl, shut up.
I really believe it because it's happening all at once. And then they're getting in their feelings because if I don't respond, like one person sent me this long ass voice note, and he doesn't listen to this podcast, so he won't be embarrassed by this. But he sent me like a long voice note about, he feels like that I'm not being as attentive to him, and why is that? And I'm like, I've just been hanging out. Like, what are you talking about? But I just see that there's a different energy that I'm being met with because I think I'm offering a different energy of like openness and calling it in, if that makes sense. Maybe I should have said that about him. Maybe I should have deleted.
I think that is actually what it is. And not
actually, Monty, can you delete that one thing about me saying about that guy? Don't nobody need to know that. Okay. But it's just like, I'm calling a certain energy in, and I'm being met with that energy. It feels good. It feels overwhelming, but I'm here for it, and I'm learning. Not you eating a whole chicken wing, and what was that that you just stuffed in your mouth? You can't even say it. What was it? Chicken nugget? A fish stick, child.
Grow up, Coffee.
Mouth full of food. Shout out to JoJo for being a good daughter. Anyway, that's what's happening. I'm really excited about
Everybody is super excited for this. This is the moment we've been praying. It's actually because of the collective prayer from all of.
I think so, and I would like to thank
the weather.
I would like to thank the listeners. I would like to thank y'all for that energy that you're giving me. So shout out to y'all. That's it. The rest I'll save for the next episode. Can you do rate, subscribe, and share and all that?
If you're new to the Around the Way Curls community, welcome. I hope you know that not only do we have our audio in which you can hear me eating fried fish sticks, but we also have a visual component as you can watch my makeup melt away within the 2 hours that we talk. We're on Patreon. All you have to go to is, what's the Patreon link, Antoinette, to get them there?
www.patreon.com/AroundTheWayCurls.
If you're already a patron and you listen to us weekly, but you have not yet rated or subscribed or left a comment, now is the time. It's the close of the year. It's very important that we collect all of this data so that we can make decisions and offer it to our stakeholders. So please do that as well. It's very important to our longevity and the continuation of this podcast. You can do that on Apple. And if you're savvy enough, Spotify. We have yet to figure out how to do that. But if you know how, let us know.
But Apple is the most important one, in all honesty. That's what people are going by.
I'll share.
And shout out to all the people that have done it. There's so many new reviews, and I hope that you look at them on your phone. Do you know how to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You should read them. They're really sweet, and you have a lot of love in there. In other news, hot shit. Girl, I watched that movie that Fran recommended that we talked about last week, 9 Days, and wept. I think I called you crying, right?
You did. Call me crying. Like, you have to just... You thought about it and cried. I was like, wow.
Did you watch it?
I have not had the opportunity.
It's not the perfect film. But again, for those of you that know that I have a background in theater and in the arts and in music, when you get to that end scene, if you don't feel something, no.
I'm about to say, I will.
I know. I would never recommend that to you because I know you hate it. But when you get to that end part and you don't feel called to live urgently and be alive, then I'm concerned about you. Please watch that movie. Apparently, I bought it on Amazon, but apparently it's streaming on Stars. Again, the movie is called 9 Days. And the description that I gave was awful last week. I found another one that was much better. So I would like to read that because what in the hell was I talking about? Hold on, let me find it. I was like, I don't know, but it was whack. Well, it was really whack, and it did not do it. I
remember not feeling intrigued at all by whatever you described.
And now I can't find it. Where is it? Oh my God!
Which was Zazie Beetz My Boo and what's his name?
Winston Duke.
What's his name from? Oh, you don't watch. You have still watch the Black Panther, child.
The Black Panther. Oh my God!
M'Baku.
I can't find.
He's M'Baku in the Black Panther.
M'Baku. Never mind. Right?
I think
anyway, it basically Winston Duke in it is charged with having to determine what unborn souls get to be born. And then he's charged with watching the souls. They're not on Earth, and they're like these like half-formed kind of souls, and he interviews them for 9 days to determine who is prepared and fit for life. And if he doesn't pick them, then they just disappear into the oblivion.
That is Absolutely. I don't know that you watched it last week because that is an absolutely different synopsis than what you. I actually don't think you watched it last week, and it shows because those were two different.
I didn't watch it. I said I hadn't watched it yet, but I literally read what Wikipedia said. Whoever wrote on Wikipedia was an idiot. Terrible. I
made that up. That is not what happened.
And I think I poorly read it as well. Yeah. Okay. Ready. Anyway, I don't need to read it again. You fucking heard what I said. Just watch it. It's really great. It's really great. I was about to read it, but it's like 2 paragraphs. It's too much. Just watch it and trust me. God damn it. All right. Thank you. That is all. Do I have my girl, Esther Perel. So as I said, I went to a dinner party. You know, when you grown, people have dinner parties now. I said, and the food was good.
Your friend cooked it or no?
Nah, he ordered it. A whole bunch of I think he thought it was Dominican, but it was Colombian food. A Colombian restaurant. It was delicious though. I still have the sauce. I took the green sauce home. My breath was humming. It was really garlicky, a little bit of spicy green sauce, and I was at everybody's face like, but I don't care. It was so good. But anyway, there was a woman there named, I don't need to say her name, but she was super dope. As soon as she came in, she just had this energy about her. And she was like, I like you. I'm going to sit next to you. I was like, okay. And she was just, Shanti, the type of woman, I want you to meet her, where I said to her, you look like the type of woman that when you speak, you tend to get your way. And she said, yes, I do. And I was like, ask such and such if we can play that game. Because I thought that he would like dismiss me. And so she asks him and we play it. And it's the Where Should We Begin? A game of stories. Shanti and I have played this on the podcast, but I highly encourage everyone to go buy this game. It's limited. She does not sell a lot of copies of this for whatever reason. You can't just actively get it, but she did create some more for your purchase for the holiday season. So if you go to estherperel.com, you can purchase this game. And every time I've played it, it has been really insightful. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned how to better listen and hold space for other people. It's just a game on how to connect. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I learned so much in that space.
That's around the holidays, a great time to.
Yeah. I know that she's not a Black woman, but it would be a great thing to have in Sable. I'm just saying. That part, Esther Perel. I'm still talking. You didn't have any hot shit this week?
Girl, no. Except for my birthday.
We'll write down the time, child. I will also like to see me turning on the speaker now. There is a Cuff It mashup, and they're calling it Cuff It Wetter, and everybody's taking it and putting their own thing on it. But I would like to shout out who I believe is the originator of this mix. And when I heard it, I said to myself, Beyonce need to put this in something now, because I love it. And so the creator is Eccentric, because I was on my SoundCloud. SoundCloud. I was on my SoundCloud shit, and I love mixes. I love mashups. I especially love Sade mixes. But I discovered this just randomly scrolling on Instagram, and when I tell you I was in the house, dancing in the mirror, taking my clothes off, feeling myself, stripping. And so I have even started to look up like erotic classes, not pole dancing, but just erotic dance classes for me to get back into like.
Yes. Just dance and movement, sensuality.
Yes. But I'm going to play it, and I want to shout out this person. He's like some Asian bull, and I reposted it, and he hit me up on Instagram. I was like, thanks for the share, because I don't think that he's getting the credit for his
Girl, if you
original
don't play this
mix.
shit,
I apologize. You right. Fix the time.
I feel like falling in love. To fuck something up. And fucking something I need some right in my cup. Hey, I'm in the mood to fuck something up. I wanna go missing. I need a prescription. I wanna go higher. And I said on top of you. I wanna go where nobody's been. Where nobody's been. Have you ever had fun like this? Whoa. Red light. It's
That's very nice. Lovely.
And Monty,
butter.
you can fade that out real quick so it's not jarring for the people. But I just loved it. And I was like, shout out to the bull, because all of these other mixes on SoundCloud are getting like hundreds of thousands of listens, and he only has like 15K. And it's his shit, and they're taking his mix and adding like SZA and Summer Walker and Chris Brown and Rihanna on it. And I also have that version, which is fire, because somebody mixed it with kiss it better, baby. And it was fire too. But I just want to shout him out. Do you hear this lady stomping around in my house or upstairs?
And like duke it out. Like when just send her.
I gotta make her some cookies or something and be like, "What's up?"
Like,
why she's like 80-something years old, and I'm be like, "I'm so sorry."
She's like a young 26-year-old,
and then I gotta fight her,
and then you gotta.
It's annoying.
No, you don't.
I just straighten my hair. I'm on top of this. Got shit to do. Should I play this other one? I feel like I've been talking a long time. This is a we got to dismantle the patriarchy video. Are we in the mood for that right now? Has the edible hit in a way where we're like, boo? It hit you?
Me. Yeah. This eye is sensitive.
It's getting low.
It's sensitive. Feels like it's itching.
So what do you feel I should do in this moment?
Maybe we should keep it moving. We should.
Damn. All right. Well, we'll go back to that.
And we'll cut into politics, and I'll start with the politics if you want to,
take a break.
Hear all the ting stem. Apple's ethical practices are in a hot seat in this moment.
Not to be confused with apples.
You say banana. Apples isn't a part of it, is it?
No.
You say apple. I say apple. Apple.
Banana,
apple,
banana.
Apple.
Tomato, tomato. I can't stand you, yo. Oh, my God. I don't know. You did. You tried to say it real fast, and my ass was like, hold up, wait.
Apple. Let's call the whole thing. Anyway, seriously.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Apple's in the hot seat due to their deeply entrenched business relationship with China. As you know, China be making all the things them, including all of Apple's
everything.
Due to the protests in China around their very strict COVID policies, the affiliation with China is putting Apple under fire. There was a 25-year-old Juan Han who stood outside of the Apple, headquarters, and he went on a 7-day strike to bring awareness to the struggle in China right now, because it's not just
what type of strike? He was just striking from working at Apple? What kind of strike?
No, a 7-day hunger strike. Hunger strike. He's just been not eating to bring awareness to it. And NPR went to interview him. He just out there, child, by himself in a tent, just on his fucking Apple phone, probably. Or this nigga got a flip phone or some shit. I don't know. Listen, I'm sorry, Juan Han, because this is serious. No, this is really, really serious. I apologize. But he has four asks or demands of Apple. The first being to stop all exploitation of the workers in Apple's factories, Two, this is very important, and fuck Apple for doing this, to fully restore the airdrop functions in China, because that's how the protesters were sharing information with each other that couldn't be censored. And China and Apple are in cahoots. So China was like, yo, cut that shit off. Flip that switch. Apple was like, say less, fam. We need another order. It's the holidays. Let's go. Do whatever you say.
Capitalism strikes again.
And they have, undercut the protesters that are like, bro, we're getting locked into our homes they just wake up.
Oh, they're being barred. Like, yeah, they're waking they're being dragged out of their homes and put in the COVID facilities.
And concentration camps.
Yes.
Forgive me. Let me continue with the demands by the young god Juan Han. He is asking to stop all censorship and colluding with China from Apple, and for Apple to publicly condemn the concentration camps. Nigga got bars. Because
and he's how 25. Wow.
He's 25 years old, and it is unfortunate that he's by himself in this. It's really dope that NPR featured him so that he has full reach. But these are legit, reasonable demands that all of us as Apple users should, and workers for those that are in the US, should hold the company up to. I just saw that on a recent podcast. I don't know exactly which one it was, The Daily or some other journal that I listen to all the time. I think it's The Daily. The question is around, it's the journal, are Apple and China breaking up after more than 20 years as business partners? And the main producer for Apple. The answer is no. I'll already answer that because you're going to get rid of your main supplier. Like, Apple would be literally fucked as a business. Because who the fuck is going to compete with China in terms of producing products for cheap? Not America.
It also shows how much they're marking up the value of these fucking devices. Because that the labor is on the low.
Oh, it's awful. It's
awful. They're charging, I believe truly that if you were to pay someone a real wage in another country or at Apple, or in China, you could pay Chinese workers a reasonable wage, actually, then they could still
make an incredible profit.
They still have a profit margin.
Grow up, you hungry bastards. But apparently folks are responding, whether in China or the East. I don't know. I don't know if the West is backing this and using some of their buying power. But as the result of the protest, Apple suffered a loss of nearly $1 billion per week in iPhone sales. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Love it.
All right, we're going to chill. We're going to figure this out. Y'all.
I love it, but also are we going to give up our iPhones?
Say that again?
I said I love it, but also are we going to give up our iPhones? How do we contribute to it? I'm asking. I feel like a hypocrite now.
Listen,
I'm on my Mac
I was
computer.
using Android for a long time. I ain't got no problem with flipping the switch. I just don't want to buy a new phone.
Is Android any more ethical, though?
Who knows? I don't know. Who's Android? Is Android like Apple? Is it Android a brand? I don't think so. Samsung. Well, Samsung would be like the
nothing.
I don't know.
Ethical. It's
Samsung's Japanese probably, and was like, I don't got those same. They ain't bugging me in Japan. Consumers are cool with over here.
We should deep dive into that. Oh. Is that what happened?
I need to put this sweater on. Yeah.
Okay, put this sweater on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We
Go
can
ahead,
wait.
Queen. Monty, I apologize. And
no, Shanti, all you have to do is mute your mic. Press the little button on your mic, and then it.
Should we put this on the timestamp?
No, it's fine. I don't care. Just don't mute your mic on the video. Mute your mic. This mic, the switch, on off. You got an on off switch and put your thing on. All right. In other news, Twitter, she took her headphones off, so she can't even hear me. So I don't know what she was thinking when she did that, guys. What's wrong with her? Hurry up. You can't hear me, and I'm talking. Put your headphones back on. I thought you were going to keep your headphones on so you could hear me. In other news, Twitter suspends an account that tracked Elon Musk's private jet. despite Elon's free speech pledge. I thought this was so funny and awful. So Twitter has suspended the account that tracked the location of Elon Musk's private jet. The suspension comes despite Musk last month tweeting, "My commitment to free speech extends even to not banning the account following my plane, even though that is a direct personal safety risk." So the @ElonJet account was run by Jack Sweeney, who is 20 years old in Florida. He's a Florida college student who used publicly available flight tracking information to build a Twitter bot that tweeted every time Musk's Gulfstream, that's his jet, took off and landed at an airport. So he would be live tweeting this information, but also exposing how Elon Musk is one of the world's biggest contributors and offenders to climate change and carbon emissions and all that shit. I think on one day he was using his jet to go from state to state the way we would use the subway. He was started in Miami, then he landed in Texas, then he had to shoot up to LA, then he came to New York. It was just wow. He was just getting in the car. And so it's unclear what specifically led to the account suspension, but Sweeney confirmed to CNN on Wednesday morning that the account had been banned. And he shared a screenshot of a message he received from Twitter that read, "After careful review, we have determined your account broke Twitter rules. Your account is permanently suspended." Then his personal account was later suspended. So before Elon even acquired Twitter, he offered this kid $5,000 to help prevent, quote unquote, crazy people from tracking his flights, which that's fair. I wouldn't want people to know exactly where I am all the time either. But then the kid counters for $50K. And he was like, I could use the money for college and maybe a Tesla Model 3, which I live.
Love that for him.
And so this exchange apparently happened in January, and then Musk never went through, saying that he didn't feel right to pay to shut this down. So he acquires Twitter. He reinstates so many accounts that the collective majority feel are harmful. Twitter is just pure fucking chaos. It's been that way since he acquired it, but this account he bans. And this is what people are talking about. And I don't disagree with him that this account was dangerous for him, for his safety. But this is this is why this conversation is nuanced. And there's a nuance that Elon is missing from it. He's just free speech, free this, free that, until he is personally affected by it. Then he understands the nuance. Then he understands why people, and that's always been, sorry, I'm hitting the mic. That's always been my biggest hang up around free speech is who determines where the line is? Mm-hmm. Is there a line? Because I believe that there is a line that is necessary, but I get anxious around who's determining the
consequences. Maybe it's more about the consequences of what happens.
No, mine is about who is determining what we can and cannot do. Because I do believe that there are things that we should not be able to do or say that cause harm to others.
You will not be able to say.
Or do. If it
comes first, the chicken or the egg, who gets to say, who gets to say that?
Right. That's my exact point. And it's on public platforms. That's what I'm talking about. Not you don't get to say it or feel it. Yeah. But if you're on there spewing just hate, you're on there and you are posing as a fake police department account and you're just writing fake news and inciting violence. And that's where it's, hello, we got to do something about this. But then who determines what this is? It's like the Supreme Court conversation we were having last week. Tricky. Because no one has the moral high ground.
No. I guess maybe it'd be less who gets to say what, but around what. If something is said, what is said that there's a consequence for. Changing the dynamic a little bit.
I thought it was interesting on Instagram but even that was tricky during the pandemic where that fact check thing would come up.
Mm-hmm.
But that even felt like a little bit of censorship, because if I remember, we had an episode where we just talked about, we were lamenting about COVID, but COVID was in our description and the post was taken down. It was like a clip, and the post was taken down as a result of that. And I was like, we weren't saying that it was fake, but they had to review it and check it before it could ever go back up. And it was like this hassle. It's interesting. Shout out to the boy Elon, though. You know, that's a tricky man. In other news, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend reached a $2 million settlement with the police department. I don't have much to elaborate on that, but I think it's worthwhile to just mention and to recognize the fact that it's been years since she was brutally killed, but that her family and her loved ones are still very much dealing, you know, with the pain and the repercussions and the fallout of that. So I don't know how often we think about those things.
I don't know.
That's not I don't think that's enough
at all.
No, because his life was at risk too. So interesting. Here we go. Take us in, girl. Your favorite couple. Come on.
You're the one that put this down there.
And you elaborate.
It seemed like you had something to say.
Well, I thought about you. I said, all right. Well, I'll.
Diddy has welcomed his 7th child by his newest baby mother, Dana Tran.
Congratulations.
In this announcement and the revealing of her identity, the interwebs went ablaze. Caresha, I don't really know what Caresha was saying initially when the news first came out, but I think she was like defending herself because people were coming.
She wasn't.
Somebody was coming at her. Somebody was coming at her. A man was coming at her, and she was like, "I'm good. I'm not hurt by this. I'm not rocked by this, or my position hasn't been rocked by this." But then another character comes into the play, and I just put these connections together. I haven't been following it deeply, but in the past, this woman, Gina Hyun, has resurfaced, who apparently has always been in the picture for a very long time, even when the old girl, what's her name? Carrie? Oh my God, Cassidy. What's her girl name? Cassie. When Cassie was Cassie was in the situation, this girl Gina has been around for a minute, and Gina and Caresha have beef. So Gina was again taunting Caresha, and everybody. It seems like everybody's pointing their fingers at Caresha, like, "Oh, you got played. You're supposed to be in this free loving thing, so free. You got cheated on, or you got played." You had a baby. You were being played. You love him so much, but he's having a baby and congratulating another woman about the arrival of his legacy. In a way, I
don't care about much about this. Honestly, I put this on here to talk about polyamory and let this be a springboard. A lot of people are citing this as a basically. Fuck, I'm starting to get a little out there. People are citing this as a what is the word?
Example?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. As an example as to why polyamory doesn't work. And I'm like, this is not what polyamory is. Like, that's why when we were talking about it initially. Why
isn't it this polyamory?
Well, I don't think that this is healthy polyamory. I'll say that. Because Shanti, I'm reading her tweets. There's not a whole lot of understanding between everyone. It's a lot of like, she doesn't care. Caresha is saying she doesn't care, but she's going buck wild on Twitter with this woman. They have this beef. Diddy came out and was like, Caresha would never be a side chick. She means so much more to me than that. Yada, yada, yada. It's messy. And it's like super public. And it's just like, wait.
But the same dynamics happen in monogamous relationships.
Yes,
Why
but what I'm saying,
why are you putting polyamory as
because
the
I
culprit
feel
of
like
the
there's an honesty and a maturity and a lot of communication that's required in healthy polyamory. Like a lot of people are in monogamous relationships, and I feel like you can get around certain conversations and still kind of function. It's not the best approach, but I see that. I feel like in polyamory, so much is required openness. And I just don't feel like there's a lot of clarity with these ladies on Diddy's end. He doesn't feel like someone who strikes me as super honest or mature about how he is handling these women. It's very possible that he loves all of them. I doubt it highly, but it's very possible. And if that was the case, then I would hope that they would form some sort of community actually and be in conversation, or just be okay with the setup, like really okay.
I think it's a perfect example of what happens in polyamory. I think that you're romanticizing what polyamory is when it just becomes a constant management of really human feelings in a way that is honest and that is out in the open. But I've heard people that are in polyamorous relationships, jealousy is a constant thing that's being managed.
Of course, but it's being managed.
But but it doesn't happen we're just seeing very public people that have access to social media, and like everybody has access to the situation that Caresha's in. So it's really big, but polyamorous relationships be messy as hell too, in a way that doesn't necessarily, because you're dealing with humans, you're dealing with people saying things like,
but I'm talking about healthy. That's the key word. If it was healthy, if it was working the way it was intended to work. Like, I'm saying, I don't think this is the goal.
Work the way that it's intended to work. Oftentimes conflict and these type of things are what erupts. And then they have to like mend it and work it out, or figure out another dynamic, or create new boundaries around, if you're going to be in a relationship with me, you can't have kids with other people. Like it's not a playbook that people step into. Like, I'm not supposed to do this. Everybody's just constantly making agreements, and messy shit happens.
Evolving. I guess I'm assuming that the messiness of this and how immature it looks like it's being handled, that there is no space for like, oh, I'm feeling jealous in this moment. We need to talk about it. Or I've lashed out in this moment. It's rooted in this place. So let's talk. Let's figure out boundaries.
I don't know that we know that. We have no idea what's going on.
No way. The faith that you have in Caresha, I love it.
No, it's not Caresha. It's the dynamic of that polyamory doesn't guarantee healthy conflict resolution.
No, I'm not saying that.
Jealousy,
I'm specifically talking about healthy.
But what I'm saying is that there's no guarantee that to say that they are unhealthy doesn't feel. We don't know what's going on with them, and Caresha has beef with Gina, not Diddy. Caresha hasn't said anything to Diddy, who she is in a polyamorous relationship with. She's talking to this other girl. That has nothing to do with it.
Let me ask you a question. So you don't feel that the women should at least
Gina's not in the relationship. She's just commenting on Caresha.
Gina is in a relationship with him.
Well, apparently, are they in relationship or they had a past relationship?
Yes, they're in relationship.
Oh, I didn't know they were still
went
seeing
away.
each other. I didn't know they were still seeing each other.
So that's what I'm talking. So this whole thing was for null and void. That's why I'm like, what do you mean this is
I didn't know
healthy?
she was still in relationship. But even then, maybe they'll work it out. Maybe it's still, the women are going to get what they need, right? But it's like, don't bring Gina around me. I never want to be in community with her. I never want to hear her name.
That's real.
And then he's like, boom. All right, Caresha, I want to, Gina.
I don't.
And so then it's being managed.
I'm not trying to really talk about Diddy.
We automatically think it's unhealthy just because it's messy. Because messy, everything is messy. I don't know
True.
anybody's relationship where shit doesn't be like, what the fuck is going on over here? They're just very public and
with their mess.
Shout out to Diddy's new baby love.
I love.
Shout out to Dana Tran, and I wish Gina and Caresha and Diddy work through this, pave the way.
Some
Keep
other
getting
girl
weird, Joel.
that Diddy was just out with. I don't have that kind of faith in Diddy to be handling these women with real care and consideration. Sorry. I'm like, bro.
I don't have any doubt that Diddy can give what these women are asking for. And if their capacity for what they want to receive is
different than what I just said.
I think he can do it. I don't know if he's going to be doing it healthy. Again, what's healthy?
That's what I'm talking. Care and consideration. Why are you not?
But if Caresha is okay with how it's going and her care and consideration is found in him being like, cool, this will never happen with Gina, then that's her definition of care and consideration. Maybe it's different from what we are like, what we consider, but for her and Diddy, that works. And that's what people are doing everywhere. There's not a broad stroke of what care and consideration
what y'all are hearing
is for everybody.
Is when Shanti believes in somebody and says she gonna cape for them.
I
love it.
Defending the theory of what a healthy polyamorous or a healthy monogamous relationship is. That's what I'm using them as examples. That's what I'm capable for. I don't want to look at their situation and be like, that's a messy, fucked up polyam. We don't know. They might they working their shit out.
If I was on Twitter cussing somebody out, that I was like, you would be like, the handling of this is beyond immature. What are you doing? Stop. Come on.
I agree.
She went on and on all night. She told that girl, yeah, he might be having a baby with somebody else, but how many times did he tell you to abort it? That is wild. You're showing that you're not on Twitter. Like,
Caresha, I hope y'all work that out at the level in which you guys are working. If this is how they're working, then this is how they go and work it out. And I wish them the ability to do that without my idea of what's healthy or not. Joe, how are we going to tell people what to say in terms of free speech? We can't figure shit out.
I said, who makes the decision?
The rules?
I don't know. All I know is if I were to ever be in a polyamorous relationship, this could not be happening.
And you would make sure that and you wouldn't experience that in your polyamorous relationship. You damn Skippy.
She called
Nor
her
would
a
I.
bunch. Yo, she's crazy. At the end of this episode, because I don't want to bring this kind of toxicity on here, because we are supposed to be elevated, but duality is a thing. I'm cracking the fuck up. I gotta read you something.
Caresha Wallen.
She ate her up. Huh? Diddy tripping. Who is too? I'm sorry.
Gina? Poor Dana.
Oh,
Dana
Gina was tripping.
She said, all I did was just give birth to my bundle of joy.
And good for her. And
Seventh child. Ooh.
And named it Love Sean Jones, like a damn
cult leader.
Like a damn love letter.
He's a cult leader.
That's what I'm saying.
He is.
But I thought they was going to work it out. They could be okay. Now you want to be a cult leader.
He is a cult leader.
I actually think probably the one person who may be good in this is Caresha. Because she really was tweeting, like, people were coming for her and she's tweeting a picture of her holding up a bunch of money. I don't know that she's looking for anything more from him than what she's getting.
Exactly.
But to me, it's just like, all right. It just doesn't feel like the version of polyamory I would want to be in. Right. That's all. Moving right along. I have a clip. I would like to play it. May you please mark it down.
I'm so cold.
Oh. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's Netflix documentary did indeed air. I have not finished it. I did turn it on begrudgingly, mostly because I saw a clip. And this here is the clip of Meghan that I saw. Oh, Jesus. I'm making a mistake. One moment. Everything's fine.
Gowns, not like cap and gowns, like beautiful white gowns. There it is. It's also the last concert I went to with my mom, and we were in the parking lot leaving, and my mom like honked her horn because the woman was taking a long time to like figure out how to get out, and the woman turned around and screamed the N-word at my mom. I just remember my mom, like, I remember the grip that her hands had on the steering wheel. And like you could see it was so tight where like the knuckles get all white. And she was just silent the rest of the drive home. We never talked about it. I'd never in my life heard someone say the N-word. Very different to be a minority but not be treated as a minority right off the bat. But obviously now people are very aware of my race because they made it such an issue when I went to the UK. But before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman. So that talk didn't have to happen for me.
So I saw that, and I have to be honest, my initial reaction was frustration. And like, girl, shut up. You always got to make us look bad. That was like my initial reaction. Like, shut the fuck up. And then I took a step back today and I watched more of it, or had it on in the background. And I recognized a couple things. That Meghan Markle did not have one black friend in that documentary. She had a lot of white folks, friends, talking on her behalf. It's mostly about how she met Harry so far and, you know, their decision to leave, yada, yada, yada. And I noticed that off the bat. And then I noticed that story about, and the thing that struck me was she said, and we never talked about it. And so I had more empathy and compassion for her, even though I'm frustrated by her experience. I recognize it as valid. But I have these things in me that are probably unfair, but I've questioned that. I question, like, what do you mean you weren't treated like a black woman? Like, you looked like a black woman growing up. Like, what does that even mean? And then you really seem to lean in to your proximity to whiteness and privilege. And then when you got over in London, it felt like, and again, the tabloids were ripping her to shreds. But then all of a sudden it felt like she leaned into the other thing, which maybe was more of a discovery for her, honestly. And instead I'm judging it based off of how it looks as a interracial, biracial, black and white woman who had a very different experience. And maybe that's what's coming up for me. And so then I took it a step further and was like, oh, what could possibly come up for the black women in my life who might push back on, like, but you're not really black? Because they might be frustrated by my experience. And so for the kind of like for the first time, I don't think it was the first time I felt it, but the first time I recognized it as, oh, I'm invalidating her because I am frustrated by her experience, and it's triggering something in me. But child, girl, deep, shut up. No, it was deep.
That was good.
Are we just high?
No, you wasn't letting it up, son.
No, I can't tell because you weren't saying anything, and then you was just looking at me like you were doing.
You know what? I was really reflecting. I was really reflecting on Jolie's experience in the school right now. Right? Okay. Majority of Jolie's early childhood experiences, she was in a fairly diverse school. Like the ratio was definitely poor, but like her best friend, for example, was a young black girl. That was her best friend, and who remains her best friend. So that was like her best person was her proximity to blackness and culture and like sharing that together.
Got it.
And then she homeschooled for 2 years. And now like this is the first time seeing my baby in school as like not a little girl, but like coming into adolescence. And it's she has no Black girlfriends that are in her grade.
Oh.
She has a boy that's in her grade that's Black, and then she has another girl that's in a younger grade, and they kick it on the bus, and that's who she has the most shared experience with, or like who she talks about, who she's excited about. But I'm also thinking about her experience in the classroom with no other brown close girlfriends.
And the effects that might have. And
the obliviousness, how oblivious she is to that phenomenon.
Oh, is she?
She doesn't know. It's not that shocking to her in a way. You know, kids are adaptable, and they're like, she doesn't have a very long point of reference where she wasn't one of the few brown kids in the class anyway. So it's not like this stark difference. She also has a white grandmother and like a proximity to whiteness in her life in general, that whiteness, the school that she's learning and the culture of that school that she's learning is normal to her. And she's just adapting to it because she doesn't have the reference that, like, when I was a young girl, yeah, I had a white mom, but when I went into school, all my homies were Black. So my experience of hearing about how they perceived whiteness, I had access to, and I could like reference, and I could like learn how to shape shift and form my own opinion about it, or learn like, yo, I ain't never gonna say that to them because they have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Or like, this is where I should feel shame around. Like my identity as a Black person was forming then as a Black person, because that was the culture that I was in, and like. But JoJo doesn't have that, and Meghan probably her Black mom didn't even expose her to that fucking culture in a way. Right. So for us to be mad at her is also, how can you tell people what they can and can't say? I like free speech. Like, how do we make these judgments about shit that are so nuanced? Wow, you opened that up about Meghan Markle, because I dismissed the fuck out of that girl. I did. You really opened that up for me, Antoinette. I thank you. And shout out to this edible that also is making me
shout out to Kimbology, who's bringing us to. You have deepened this podcast for the evening. Because I don't know if I would have gotten there. I didn't write any of that shit down. I was really just ready to shame her ass again.
Girl.
And then in talking through it, I swear I started to realize, what is this that you're feeling? This has everything to do with you being frustrated by her experience.
And how it feels like it negates,
And not only how it negates my experience, but I didn't get to have it. Or like, I like, there's that association with privilege in her, like, throughout. You got to watch it. It's like her whole life. And it's like, I don't want it, but also like, why do you get to have that? And why do you get to now have the Black community soldier for you? When like, where is the Black community in your life?
I would never want to be in her. Yeah, I would never want to
be in her.
That's so hard.
Could you imagine?
No.
She literally, her mom is the only person. And then that happens to her mom.
What was fucking going on?
What?
Her mom didn't even talk to her about Blackness.
That's what I said. I said right there, in that moment, that huge thing happens, and she said we'd never talked about it.
Oh, it's about your culture. It's about culture so much. It's about culture so much.
It's interesting, but I have compassion for her.
Am I a Black woman?
I swear to God, I don't doubt that happened to her over there, and I don't even know if because. I don't know that she's even able to see it yet, or like really. I don't know, because then you on top of,
will.
And what a shame. You're missing out on the best shit in the world, yo, Meghan. I think you should watch it.
Well, she can't like empathize more. Is she not even missing out on the best part of the world, but she doesn't get to stretch herself anymore.
Exactly.
Either. Like you don't even get to. Yeah. Girl,
Meghan got to get free.
She got to like hook up with.
Actually, Harry.
The Black
I
male
like
community
Harry.
Do we want to
I
for
want her
Meghan
to
to
stay
maybe
with
hook up
Harry. She just needs a fucking couple black homegirls.
Too late. We ain't nobody gonna trust you. Wow.
She was just robbed of so much, I feel.
Or not. She may have had a wonderful experience.
Exactly. And there goes our bullshit.
Yeah, she might have a great experience. She's like, black, gross, yuck. I'm
No,
black.
stop. That's the type of
Yeah.
black. Never mind.
But that's
Judging.
probably how she had interfaced with it. Like the rest, she probably ate up the rest of societies. If you don't have that reference to be like, yo, this is the dopest, like, this is the most amazing experience in the whole entire world, she probably fed up, like, what other white people who don't have relationships with black people think? Dangerous.
Well, all right, you're up.
Speaking of danger, I don't even want to get into this for real. What time is it, Antoinette?
I really didn't want to talk about it either. All I'm going to say is prayers to Megan Thee Stallion. And
this is definitely in theme with the theme of what the fuck is going on and who are we to hold accountable. We
have no moral compass. We're understanding. That's the name of that. We have no moral compass. Who are we to judge or determine anything? This is episode 226, and you know how many times we came on here thinking that we knew better than everybody else. Who are we?
Who can say what free speech is?
Who can say what healthy is? Young healthy, Miami
girl
is probably.
I forgot about that one that quick. Girl,
listen, she over there happy and healthy. Who can say?
Well, this Megan Thee Stallion trial against Tory Lanez is leaving all of us still wondering what the fuck is actually happening. Both Megan and her former best friend, Kelsey Harris, both took to the courtroom stand. Megan shared her account of that evening, which involved going over to the Kardashians' pool party, later getting into it in the car with Kelsey and Tory. She proceeded to leave the car to escape or to get away. She just exited the car. That's when Tory allegedly shot at her feet, telling her to dance, bitch, in which she later lied to cops when they first arrived and say she stepped on glass. She says that she was scared and shocked, as well as trying to protect him because, everything was happening so quickly, and that often happens to people who are victims right in the moment. But anyway, Meg took to the stand yesterday, described the evening, and then went on to talk about how she has been affected by this. She said, I can't even be happy. I can't hold conversations with people for a long time. I don't feel like I want to be on this earth. I wish he would have just shot and killed me if I knew I would have to go through this torture. She also said that Tory offered her hush money of $1 million. Her friend Kelsey came to the stand the next day, talked about how she was upset on the way that Meg was defaming her character, went on to share some very messy details around Meg and Kelsey both sharing a lot of partners, betrayal, backstabbing stuff. And then she proceeded to invoke her Fifth Amendment, which is the right to silence. When asked who shot her, like the greatest detail of the whole event.
The Fifth Amendment, I believe, is the right to not self-incriminate, right?
Or the right to silence, which means that she would not self-incriminate. That's what they mean. So, but she also said that he did kick her out and did threaten. She did say that Tory threatened Meg's life. So she's showing that was possible that he could have shot her, but also she ain't saying. It's a mess. What's the messiest thing is about how they are in great, they're not saying anything about the facts because it's all very blurred, but people are sharing great detail about who she's slept with.
Yeah, they act like she's on trial
ins and outs of
fuck
Kelsey's relationship, just subtly shaming her and causing provocation. Ooh.
Ooh. That was good job. Look at how both of us just got shocked. Wow. Oh,
I don't know how. I just feel that that's corny, and I also don't trust anybody involved in this at this point until I've released my judgment from it and what I think's what, because it all sounds like a
bad
wild
time.
night.
Yeah.
And what Kim Kardashian? The Kardashians are little devils. They're involved in everything. I'm sorry.
It wasn't Kim. Why you gotta blame Kim? It was
the Kardashians are somehow still involved in this.
Then they're trying their best not to be.
They sure are. They probably the ones giving the money. If there's any hush money.
They're funneling it?
You heard it here first.
I think that we should stop making things up about people's lives. But blessings to these folks. I don't have anything to add. Truly. I just hope that Meghan's okay. That girl has been through a lot. And I don't know who did what or nothing about this, but all I know is for somebody to get up there and say that, who, again, I don't know if Meghan ever really grieved the loss of her mother. Like, I just don't know it.
And then fame like that.
And then that level of fame.
Child.
And fame like you're up accepting a Grammy with Beyonce fame.
Beyonce.
And then on top of that, she had the falling out with like the record label and yada, yada, yada. And then the last project she put out is like about, therapy and about, it's okay for you to struggle with mental health and all that. So it's just like, hopefully she's getting help. I think personally that Tory Lanez is like a sniveling, conniving, disgusting being.
Disgusting.
And it makes me sad that two women chose to sleep with him.
Period. Just said two women.
Yuck.
Ew.
So, anyway, blessings to them. I don't know. In short, I think, but also, like, why can't he live his life free? We have no moral compass. Yeah, like, I don't know if he
should not live. Why
he can't be shooting people? Why can't he have sex with two people? Like, who the fuck knows what happened? How do we know? That's my point. We don't know. We coming at it with our own shit and judging it. But also, judgment is necessary in life because then how do you determine what good and bad is? And who determines it?
And who determines what's good and bad?
That's the name of the podcast. And with that, we are out. But that was bad. Like, you can't be shooting people. Who said?
I'm so cold.
Why?
I have to urinate. I apologize, and I have to go get a towel, a blanket, because
do you have
this back? My back room's cold.
What did I say the episode was called? Who determines
what's good and bad?
Interesting. I didn't hear a clip in there. What's the clip? I don't want to stop. China. China is the clip. China